One, two, three, let's switch this up.
So, in my last video, I talked about what if Springtrap was in Dead by Daylight, and that video popped off, my dude. And in that video, I said that I had a lot of ideas for other characters, and one of those ideas was for the Candyman, which is another character that is rumored to be licensed for Chapter 17. So I thought I would share them with you guys. And I'd gotten some feedback from you guys in the comments to talk about like maps and survivors and backstory and Moris and stuff like that, which I didn't really think of in the last video, so I'll definitely be going through a few of those. Anyway, what if the Candyman was in Dead by Daylight? So first off, the chase music. I actually was looking through a whole heap of videos with like fan-made chase music for different killers, and I saw this one. It's actually for Nurse, but I thought that would actually sound so cool for the Candyman and just add like a bee effect over it. I think that would sound amazing, and so that's actually what you heard. If any of you would like to see more DBD killer ideas or survivor ideas, please hit that like button and subscribe, ring the notification bell, and leave your suggestion down in the comments. I love reading all of the comments and I try to reply to as many of them as possible. But anyway, now to the Candyman's power. So instead of calling him the Candyman as his killer name, because none of the other licensed killers really have their real names as their in-game name, like Michael Myers has the Shape and Freddy has the Nightmare and all that sort of stuff, I thought I would call him the Forbidden. I did a little bit of digging and I found out that the original short story where the Candyman came from was called The Forbidden, and I thought that that was really fitting to call him the Forbidden. And I decided to call his power Say My Name. 5 mirrors will spawn in the environment at the beginning of the trial. Survivors start the trial with the broken status effect. Survivors will need to chant Candyman into a mirror 5 times to heal themselves. Every time a survivor chants in a mirror, the Forbidden will be given the undetectable status effect for 30 seconds and will trigger a loud noise notification. Survivors that fully repair a generator will suffer from the broken status effect. Special ability: Innocent Blood. Hold the power button to place a pool of innocent blood directly in front of the Forbidden. Survivors that touch the pool will be affected by the hindered status effect and will attract bees over time. The Forbidden can absorb the bees from the survivor to gain a short speed boost. Alright, so let's break this power down. At the start of the game, 5 mirrors will spawn around the map, and all survivors will spawn in as broken. A survivor will need to chant Candyman 5 times into one of the 5 mirrors around the map to cure themselves of being broken. But every time a survivor chants into a mirror, the killer will be notified and that survivor will be affected by the undetectable status effect. So they won't be able to hear or see the red stain of the killer. And when a generator is fully repaired, all the survivors that were working on that generator become broken again. Innocent Blood is actually a pool of honey that the Forbidden puts down onto the floor, and when a survivor walks or runs through it, kind of like Freddy's pulls, they'll get the hindered status effect, which means that they're slowed down a little bit. But over time, they'll attract bees. So bees will start flying around the survivor, making them a tiny bit easier to see and a lot more easier to hear. But if the forbidden is in a chase with the survivor that has bees around them, the forbidden can absorb the bees and get a slight speed boost against the survivor. I feel like the forbidden would have the attributes of trapper, so he would be very tall, he would have a fairly average terror radius, and he would probably walk at 4.4, 4.6. And now onto his teachable perks. The first perk is Sweets to the Sweet. One fake hex totem will spawn in the trial. All other hex totems will appear as dull totems for the rest of the trial. When the survivor has a half, third, quarter of the fake hex totem left to cleanse, the totem will turn into a dull totem. So this perk basically conceals the hex totems and make them look like dull totems. And so there is only one hex totem that actually looks like a hex totem, and only the person who cleanses the fake hex totem will know that all the other dull totems are actually hex totems. The second perk is Do You Believe in Me? One trapped generator will spawn at the start of the trial. Once the survivors have half, third, quarter of the generator progress completed, the generator will be taken back by the entity. So basically, once the survivors have repaired this trapped generator for a half, a third, a quarter of the generator progress, the entity will basically swallow the generator. So the survivors can't work on that generator anymore. And the third perk is Be My Victim. Survivors need to leave or die. Once the endgame collapse has been activated, the survivors will not be able to see the timer until there is only a half, a third, or a quarter of the timer left. So this one is kind of a lot more of a sneaky one. So someone will open the door and the survivors won't be able to see the progress at all until they have a half, a third, or a quarter of the timer left, depending on the tier of the perk. So the survivors won't know how much time they have left to leave until it is too late. But I think these perks fit in really well with the Candyman's lore, because the Candyman is able to hypnotize and deceive his victims, and these perks kind of do the same thing where they're trying to deceive the survivors. So I think that these really fit in well with the story of Candyman. And now onto the maps, and I'm pretty sure that everyone would agree that there is really only one place that is identifiable in the Candyman story, and that would be the shrine or the church to Candyman with the mouth open. I think that this map would work more like Haddonfield, where there would be houses around that you can interact with and that you can loop the killer around, and then there would be the main like church shrine thing to Candyman in the very middle. I feel like for the Candyman chapter, it would only be the Candyman in the DLC, kind of like how Ghostface was the only character in his DLC, because if there was a survivor, it would be a very minor and obscure character if it was from the original Candyman movie, or it would be a character from the new Candyman movie, which at this point in time, we would have no idea who that would be because the movie hasn't come out yet. And before you say anything, Helen Lyle didn't technically survive her own movie, so I don't think that she would be a survivor in Dead by Daylight, because at the end of the first movie, she actually turned into an immortal, kind of like Candyman, so I really don't think that she would be a survivor. So if the Candyman was to come out for chapter 17, I feel like it would be just a character by himself. And quickly into cosmetics. For Candyman, I feel like there wouldn't be that many cosmetic opportunities for Candyman. I feel like you could do like an open chest, open jacket sort of thing, and then you could have a closed jacket, or maybe a Candyman as a painter, you know, from before he was the Candyman and stuff like that. But compared to original characters, there's not that much cosmetic opportunities because you really only see Candyman in the coat. And now, last but not least, but the Mori. I know that a lot of other people had like, oh, you know, he would just hook him in the back like he does in the movies. And I was like, but that's boring, don't you think? So I thought if he drew them in with the bees and the bees would sting the survivor, it would put them on the ground, and then he kind of picked him up with his hook and did that scene where the hook kind of rips through the guy's chest area. I thought that would be pretty cool, but I wasn't too sure on that one. If you guys have any ideas, leave them in the comments below. I would really like to see what you think would be a really good Mori for Candyman, because that was kind of the thing that I had the biggest struggle with, is like coming up with an interesting Mori, because all the other characters, they have quite gruesome, interesting Moris, but I couldn't really think of anything for the Candyman. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for getting to the end of the video and for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you guys want any more DBD character ideas, leave them in the comments below. Give it a like so that I know that you guys want more of these. Thank you so much for all the support I got on the last video. It means so much. I know that I've said that in like 3 videos now, but it really does. It's amazing. Thank you so much. And make sure to never leave your candles unattended and brush your teeth. 'Cause I don't wanna walk away. Yeah, I'm stuck in your space.